Welcome to News Edge, your sharpest source for daily headlines and deep dives. If you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and stay ahead of the curve. Along the world's longest undefended border, a quiet but powerful movement is taking shape. One that's changing the way two neighboring nations interact. For decades, this border symbolized friendship and easy passage, but now, a noticeable shift is underway. Canadian tourists, who once made up the largest group of international visitors to the U.S., are now choosing to stay home in growing numbers, leaving once busy American attractions unusually quiet. This isn't a random trend, it's a direct response to rising political tensions, divisive rhetoric, and a growing sense of disrespect that many Canadians feel from recent American policies and statements. Reports have surfaced of Canadians facing hostility, lengthy delays, and invasive questioning at the border, fueling a grassroots boycott that's gaining momentum. What was once a seamless, friendly crossing now feels uncertain, stressful, and unwelcoming for many travelers. As a result, Canadians are choosing to redirect their vacation dollars to their own country, exploring local destinations, or even traveling overseas instead of heading south. This isn't a government-mandated policy, it's a widespread personal protest, with individuals and families making conscious choices about where to spend their time and money. Social media campaigns like #BuyCanadian and #ExploreCanada are gaining traction, encouraging people to support their own economy and celebrate Canadian destinations, products, and culture. The message is clear: if our friendship isn't valued, our tourism money won't be spent across the border. Canadians are sending a powerful signal with their wallets. The impact is being felt most acutely in U.S. communities that have long relied on Canadian visitors to fill hotels, restaurants, and shops. The decline in Canadian tourists is a direct reflection of a damaged relationship, and the economic consequences are becoming impossible to ignore. Political words and actions don't just stay in the headlines. They have real, lasting consequences for everyday people, from business owners to workers who depend on cross-border tourism. In the end, this invisible barrier of frustration and principle is proving more formidable than any physical wall, reminding us that trust and respect are the true foundations of international friendship. The financial impact of the Canadian tourism boycott is massive, sending shockwaves through communities that once thrived on cross-border visitors. What was once a steady stream of travelers has slowed to a trickle, leaving local economies reeling. The U.S. faces a potential loss of over $6 billion in tourism revenue this year alone, a staggering figure that highlights just how much the nation relies on its northern neighbors for economic vitality. For decades, Canadian visitors have been a pillar of the U.S. tourism industry, spending billions annually on shopping, dining, and entertainment. Their presence has supported countless small businesses and fueled local growth. Now, their sudden absence has triggered a quiet crisis, putting thousands of hospitality and retail jobs at risk. Small towns that once bustled with activity are now eerily quiet, and the ripple effects are being felt far beyond the border. Hotel clerks, servers, tour guides, and shopkeepers are feeling the pain as hours are cut and layoffs mount. Many workers are left wondering how they'll make ends meet, while business owners face tough decisions about their future. The hardest hit are northern states where Canadian tourism is vital. In places like upstate New York and Michigan, entire communities depend on Canadian dollars to keep their economies afloat. Canadians aren't just staying home, they're choosing other destinations, from European cities to sunny Mexican beaches. This shift in travel habits makes it even harder for the U.S. to win them back, even if relations improve. This isn't just a temporary slump, it's a threat to the industry's future. If the boycott continues, some businesses may never recover, and the long-term damage could reshape the tourism landscape for years to come. The boycott shows how quickly political friction can unravel decades of economic cooperation. What took years to build can be undone in a matter of months, leaving both sides worse off. Empty hotels and quiet restaurants are visible signs of a deeper problem, one that goes beyond lost revenue and speaks to the fragility of international relationships. A healthy economy depends on healthy diplomatic relationships. When trust breaks down, so do the opportunities for growth and prosperity on both sides of the border. Without resolving the underlying issues, the economic damage will continue to mount, affecting not just tourism, but the broader trade and partnership between the two countries. In the end, it's American workers and business owners who are paying the price for a problem they didn't create, hoping for a resolution before it's too late to recover. Nowhere is the impact more visible than along the U.S. Canada border. where the effects of recent tensions are felt every single day. In these border towns, the connection between the two countries isn't just political, it's personal, woven into the fabric of daily life. For decades, these communities have thrived on a steady flow of Canadian shoppers, families on vacation, and friends visiting from across the border. Their presence has fueled local businesses, filled restaurants, and brought life to main streets. But now, with border crossings at historic lows, highways that once bustled with travelers are eerily empty, and the silence is unsettling. Small, family-run motels and restaurants that once welcomed guests from both sides now face empty parking lots and rows of vacant tables, struggling to stay afloat. Many business owners are forced to cut staff, reduce hours, or even close their doors entirely, uncertain if they'll ever reopen. The ripple effect is profound. Hotels order fewer supplies, restaurants need fewer workers, and layoffs are becoming all too common, impacting families throughout the region. As more businesses shutter, the local economy enters a downward spiral that's increasingly difficult to reverse. Once vibrant festivals and bustling markets have faded, replaced by empty streets and anxious shop owners wondering what the future holds. The prosperity of these towns is deeply tied to the health of the U.S. Canada relationship, a bond built on years of cooperation and trust. When relations are strong, these communities flourish. But when tensions rise, they're the first to feel the pain, their livelihoods hanging in the balance. Empty storefronts and deserted downtowns now stand as stark reminders of the real-world consequences that diplomatic friction can bring. For the people who call these towns home, the boycott isn't just a headline, it's a daily struggle to keep their businesses and their communities alive. Without the steady stream of Canadian customers, these towns are truly on the brink, hoping for relief before it's too late. Vermont is taking the tourism crisis seriously. With Canadian visitors down sharply, the state launched a campaign to send a clear message: you are still welcome here. In a symbolic gesture, a street was renamed U.S Canada Street, a public declaration of friendship. Vermont wants to separate itself from national political rhetoric and remind Canadians of their long, positive history together. The campaign is an olive branch, hoping to mend the relationship and encourage visitors to return. The urgency is real. Vermont can't afford to lose its Canadian market. The effort is to show that locally the spirit of hospitality remains strong. Vermont's initiative is a fascinating example of state-level diplomacy. It's a plea for tourists to look past headlines and remember the personal connections they've made in the Green Mountain State. Vermont is making it clear it doesn't want to lose that connection. Vermont knows that symbolic gestures alone aren't enough. That's why the state and its businesses are offering real financial incentives to lure Canadians back. Canadians Ride Free Day gave visitors free access to top mountain biking parks, a tangible act of goodwill. Hotels are offering discounted rates and some retailers accept Canadian dollars at par. These deals directly address financial barriers and show Canadians they're truly valued. The goal: cut through political noise and rebuild trust, one visitor at a time. Vermont hopes these actions will create positive buzz and encourage Canadians to return. It's a strategic investment in the state's tourism future. Vermont is betting that kindness and savings can help mend a vital economic partnership. Despite Vermont's warm welcome, many Canadians remain hesitant to visit the U.S. For many, the boycott is about personal principle and national pride. They feel traveling south condones disrespectful treatment from the U.S. administration. Stories of negative border experiences have created real apprehension. Even the possibility of being treated poorly is enough to spoil vacation plans. Many Canadians are now exploring their own country, discovering new favorite destinations at home. This shift in travel habits may last, even if relations improve. The U.S. now faces competition from a renewed sense of Canadian pride. Restoring trust will require more than local incentives. It needs a change in tone and policy at the national level. Until Canadians feel the relationship is truly repaired, hesitation will remain. The root causes of the boycott run deeper than discounts or deals. The decline in Canadian visitors is part of a larger crisis for U.S. tourism. International visitors from Europe, Asia, and beyond are also rethinking trips to the U.S. What was supposed to be a year of recovery is now a major disappointment, with billions in lost revenue. Destinations can't easily replace lost Canadian tourists with visitors from elsewhere. The reasons are complex: a strong U.S. dollar, political climate, and perceptions of being unwelcome. America First rhetoric is heard worldwide and can deter travelers. The country's brand as a friendly destination is at risk. This is a wake-up call for the industry. Global perceptions matter. The health of tourism depends on a welcoming image. The current crisis shows how quickly that image can be tarnished. Addressing these issues is urgent for the future of American tourism. U.S. tourism leaders are sounding the alarm, calling for urgent diplomatic action. Local campaigns help, but they can't solve problems rooted in national politics. Industry groups are lobbying Washington to engage in serious dialogue with Canada. The fear: if action isn't taken soon, the damage could become permanent. Broken travel habits are hard to restore, and lost market share may never return. America's reputation as a global destination is at stake. A strained relationship with Canada sends a negative signal worldwide. Rebuilding trust requires consistent, positive messaging and friendly policies. The industry is calling for a national strategy to welcome the world back. Diplomacy is now an economic necessity. Only sincere engagement can prevent further damage and ensure the future of American tourism. The tourism crisis is a symptom of a strained U.S.-Canada partnership. Rebuilding trust requires respectful dialogue and a shift to cooperation at the highest levels. Both countries must ensure the border is secure, efficient, and welcoming. Improving border procedures and training can restore confidence for travelers. National leadership is key, but local efforts like Vermont's matter too. Grassroots initiatives and people-to-people connections help mend the relationship. Every positive interaction counts. The U.S. and Canada share more than a border. They share values and a deeply integrated economy. Resolving this crisis is vital for both nations' prosperity. By working together, they can ensure their historic partnership thrives for generations.